Hello everybody, welcome to the acting channel that's here to give you sound, logical, and reasonable advice. Not anything that's going to be too crazy or too mental where you're getting into your head and you can't get into your character. This channel here is to give you logical, simple, and easy advice. We don't have to go through a whole mental process and think, for 2 hours on how do we say these 6 lines in a scene. All you have to do, sometimes it's crazy. There are classes out there where they have you thinking about how to say, these 5 or 10 lines. Where all you got to do, you just got to go and speak the lines. For me personally, I don't want to have to spend 5 hours trying to say 5 lines. It's just crazy. For me personally, it's not my thing. But some people, they love that process. That's what works for them. And if it works for you, great. I try to have things, though, that can get you to where you need to be quick. And it's just like music. If I have to learn a song, I'm not going to go and spend, 12 hours trying to learn a simple 3-minute song. I'm going to spend the amount of time that's needed in order to get this song down. But it's also about working the proper way. So sometimes when you're doing a scene or you're working on a moment, you're going to have to spend those 12 hours. I'll admit that. That's true. But you also may be having to spend those 12 hours because you could be working wrong. If you're working the proper way, you can get a much more beneficial practice out of yourself than if you're trying to say, okay, I'm going to go and work for 12 hours straight. But there are people who and I've worked with people before who spend hours on getting their moments down and working things out and trying to do A, B, C, and D. And then I go and I work with them, and maybe we work for like an hour or so, and they get far beyond where they would imagine that they could get. And they're like, "Oh, I didn't realize that I could just do this or do these simple things." And it's because you have to remember that you yourself are already a very interesting person. You don't have to try and make the scene interesting. You don't have to try and make the person interesting. If you go up there and you're a real person in the moment, that's going to be interesting. And naturally, we start to adjust to the situations. Of course, there are going to be moments when we don't, and we have tricks and we work on it. But for the most part, you have to remember that you're bringing yourself into the scene, or at least elements of yourself. So you just have to try and watch yourself and make sure that you can make the work easy for you instead of having to be a process that's tricky and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. I have 1,000 different things running through my head and I'm just trying to say 10 words. You know what I'm saying? It gets tricky, it gets complicated, and we have to make it as easy to ourselves as possible. So today's video is going to be one on the best acting classes in LA. And this is going to apply, it's not going to, now if you're going to want specific classes that I'm going to say, go to this one, go to this one, go to this one, then you're going to want to turn off this video. Because this video is not going to have that. It's going to be having elements of what you want within your class, which I think is much more helpful and beneficial. Because you may not always be in LA. You may be in LA and then you may go to New York. Or you may go somewhere else and you're like, I want to get good training. How do I find good training? What is good training? And it's kind of like the fisherman story. Well, I can either give you a fish or I can teach you how to fish. And personally, I think that is more beneficial. So here we go. We're going to get into it right now. First thing, number one, when you're trying to find a class and you're trying to find a coach, find someone that when you're talking with them, because you can talk with them on phone, in person, on Skype, however you're doing it, make sure that you're comfortable with them. So when you're there and you're speaking, you want to have a good vibe. You want to be there and be like, okay, this is cool. I like this person. They seem cool when I'm speaking with them. They seem understanding. They seem like they're going to listen to what I have to say and what I want to put onto the table. They're very responsive. You want to get a good feeling from them. It's just like if you were a boss and you were job interviewing people and you have someone come into the room and you're like, okay, they're okay, they got good, good stuff on their resume, but, as a person, they were okay. I had an okay time. And you may have some people in where you really vibe with them. And you're like, wow, this person, they're so deep. They really understand. We have the same perspective. We have the same goals that we would be trying to reach. So you have to make sure that you can find that with the person that you're looking for to study with. Because a lot of times what happens is people who are actors say, okay, I need to get into an acting class. That's what I got to do. I need to get into an acting class. So here we go, Googling it up. Okay, 3 acting places came up. I'll just try this one out. Before you do it, contact them. See how you feel. And if you have to take a class in order to see how it goes, then do that. Take a class. See how you like it. Are you vibing with the instructor well? And if you are, then that's a good sign. The next thing comes into, if it's a whole group dynamic class situation, you also want to find, is it the right situation for you to be in within that class? Now, this is important because if this is a class situation, you're going to be working with these people. And as an actor, you want to be able to work with people who it's easy to work with them. You guys are still trying to develop and go at the same pace, and you're trying to get from point A to B. Of course, you want to have people who are motivated in the class. So if you have people who are there and they're like, I'm just here. I'm here to chill, man. Cool, you do your lines. Awesome, gotcha. No, I didn't work on this, so I'm going to go up. I'm going to waste 15 minutes of your guys' time when someone else who actually worked on the scene can go up. But yeah, great. You want to watch those classes. Some classes, you may have one person who's like that, but if the whole class is like, yeah, I'm here, I'm ready to work, then it's not a bad class. But if you have a class and like everybody's like, oh, super chill, and they're like, yeah, whatever happens, happens. I'm just here to go and talk and see, who's here and whatever. And they don't really care about trying to improve or get better. Then you want to watch out for that. Because you kind of want to be more with people who are on the path of like, hey, I want to get better. Because that's going to help you get better. And if you see other people in the class who are doing well and they're excelling, you're going to be like, wow, I want to get there too. And it can be helpful to watch actors who are doing well and who are progressing, just as much though as it is to also see actors who aren't doing so well. And you can see and you're like, you know what? That, I don't like it when this person does that. I don't like it, oh, this person's doing the same thing. I don't like that either. You start to find commonalities. So you have to find the instructor, how you vibe with them, as well as how you vibe in the class situation, if you're in a class. Now, if you're with just a private instructor, you're doing it privately, well, then it more comes down to the instructor themselves. The next thing is, you want to make sure that this instructor is going to give you honest feedback. So now, there are a lot of instructors out there who will have you come into their class, have you come into the one-on-one situation with them, and they'll be like, oh, wow. They're like, whoa, what you did there? That was great. That was spot on. Perfect. Really, really good. And the work might not be that strong. And you want to watch out for those people because there are a lot of them out there who they're people pleasers in a way. And they're just saying, oh, that's good, that's good, that's good. So then it keeps you happy and you feel like, oh, okay, great, I'm doing good. Okay, I'll come back. This one is a little bit harder to tell because you're also going to have to judge for yourself how you're doing. But we also have an internal compass within us. And usually, not all the time, but there are a lot of times when we're working and we can tell, okay, what I'm doing, boom, it's going great right now. And we can also tell when we're doing work and we're like, hey, I'm not hitting the mark. I'm off. I don't know what's happening. And then, there'll be instructors who will say, if you're off the mark, they'll be like, oh, that was great. And you'll be like, but you'll know for yourself that it wasn't good. And, sometimes it comes down to personal preferences with the instructor, which is why you want to see if you guys are on the same wavelength for what you guys, want for yourself, is you want to have really realistic work. And, if it's the case, then you see and you say, I'm glad that you saw it working. But for me personally, when I did that, I thought it went all downhill. Maybe at this moment I liked it, but at this moment I'm like, it wasn't working for me. I wasn't getting to the place that I wanted to get to. And then you guys can have a chat about it. And they might go, oh, okay, cool. Well, then we'll work on this. Or they might be like, oh, yeah, I saw that too. And if you get someone who's like that, who's all the time like, oh, that was good. And then you bring something up and like, oh, yeah, I saw that too. And then they do it. You want to be careful for that. So you want someone who is going to be honest with you. Someone who's going to say, what you did there, that wasn't very good. Not that you can't do it, but the work that you presented there, it wasn't strong work. It wasn't enough to get to where you want to get to. Which brings me to my fourth point, which is going to be the last point for this video, is when these people now, the instructors, who are giving you their advice and their opinions, you also want to make sure that they don't beat you down. We're like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. Like, I'm trying to do what I'm trying to do, and it doesn't seem, he's not liking any of the work, he or she's not liking any of the work I'm putting up. It's, I'm always getting told I'm doing bad work, blah, 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 blah. If you have an instructor who's constantly telling you you're doing bad and not giving you any encouragement at all on what you're doing well, because there are moments when, okay, maybe a lot of what we're doing isn't great, sure, but there are some moments that are working, or if we're progressing, just to know that, okay, we're getting from point A to B we're getting a little closer, and a little closer. So you want someone who's not going to just beat you down and make you feel terrible about yourself and never want to act again, because that's not the goal. You still want to get better, but you also don't want to hate acting in the process. And there will be moments, though, even with that being said, where you're going to go along and you're like, man, I hate acting, I'm not doing this, blah, 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 blah. It'll happen, but you just don't want it to come from your instructor. Because if it comes from your instructor, it's a lot harder, and we take it maybe a little bit more personally sometimes, because we're thinking, wow, this person knows what they're saying, yet they're telling me that I'm not going and getting to where I need to be. So those are kind of the big things to pay attention to when you're looking for the right school to go to, whether that be in LA, whether that be in New York, or wherever you are. Now, an extra bonus is if you can find a place that has all these things, but they also have it where maybe they have casting directors come in or agents come in, every month, every 2 months, every 3 months, where you have the chance and the opportunity to get noticed. Not something always comes out from this. It's not like if you join a class where they bring in casting directors, like you're going to get cast, you're going to get a job. It's not like that. There are a lot of people who participate in those type of classes and never get anything at all. But that's why I don't have it as a goal that you're looking for. Look more for the instruction that you're going to get and the type of class setting that you're going to be in. Pay attention to that, because that's the most important thing for you to get better first. And then you also want to pay attention to the part of getting noticed. But it's a little bit more secondary, because if you get noticed, someone notices you, but you're doing bad work, well, that's not cool either. So you want to still be doing strong work and growing as an artist. So that's why you want to make sure that you first find, okay, this is the type of class I want to be in. This is good. I can do this. Type of class I want, perfect. Then you can start to say, okay, now what classes have all this that I'm looking for, but now they also have the extra benefit of bringing industry people in, and they can take a look at my work. And it gives you the possibility of hopefully getting noticed and maybe getting a role or something. It may never happen, but it's a nice cherry on top to see if anything can come from it. So, I hope you guys like this video. Go ahead and subscribe to this channel so you can be up to date with everything. Share this video with anyone else who's going to be either leaving the area, coming to the area, and are looking for different classes. It's really important that when you're trying to find a class, that you really find one that benefits you to make you grow and become a stronger actor. So, anyways, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.